you cannot compare where the Lord has you. Yes, somebody's 10 steps into something might not look like your step one, but the Lord didn't tell you to take step one yet. What's more important is your obedience in that season. And if you disobey to try to get to where somebody else is, you might be flirting with the devil because he wants you distracted by that person's success or lack thereof or whatever it is. But it is hard when you go into something and you feel like I felt it in my soul was like, there are people that I know and love that are having a hard time being happy for me right now. And that deeply hurts. But there's nothing I can do about it other than pray over it.
Hi, I'm Kristen Brunius, and this is the Overcomers Podcast. I am so excited for you to hear the stories of incredible people overcoming trials and turning them into triumphs. From everyday moms and dads to entrepreneurs to community leaders and beyond, you'll see how everyone has a story of overcoming, and those stories are what connect us all. Let's hop right in. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Overcomers Podcast. I'm Kristen Brunius and I am your host. I just finished recording with Courtney and feeling a little teary-eyed and a little emotional. Lots of God bumps throughout this episode. I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy it. This is Courtney's second time coming on, as you'll hear us talk about. And God is doing amazing things through her and using her. And I just love that she is willing to be used. So grab your tissues and pull up your chair, grab a cup of coffee or cinnamate because that's my favorite. And I hope that you enjoy this conversation with Courtney. And you can find her on most social medias, or I think all social medias. Her handle is Her Mind on Mission. And then she has the Facebook group, as she talks about, it's called 75 Holy Officials. So look for her there. But speaking of cinnamate, I feel like I could talk about this till I'm blue in the face, and I just really challenge you guys to just give it a try. We do have that sample pack on my website called soulnaturals.com/Kristen. If you click on bestsellers, it's right there. It is $14.95. Inside, it comes with a $15 off coupon, and it comes with 7 different drinks. There's things for, and they're all plant-based, herbal, no artificial sweeteners, gluten, dairy, soy, no junk whatsoever. And they all have different uses. The one that I'm talking about, actually I have the wrapper right here because I was drinking it in my Starbucks coffee. I actually go to Starbucks, buy the Starbucks coffee, and then I pour cinnamate in it. Yeah, I know, I'm weird. But there's nothing that gives me good, clean energy without the crash like cinnamate. Almost 8 years later, I still swear by it. I am a 2-a-dayer because I literally love it that much. But anyway, there's 7 different drinks in there. There's a yellow one that's for hormones, a green one, which is called Vital, so it's vitamins, a blue one because blue is calming. There's a collagen. There's 2 different kinds of proteins. And so what it does is it gives you an opportunity to figure out which ones work for you. And I think the sample pack is so cool, not only because it's free and you don't have to risk anything, but also because it's a lot of fun for me. I have everybody try it. I mean, you could do whatever you want, but if I'm guiding you through it, I'll have you try 1 drink a day and then report back how you feel. And then at the end of the week, I'll say, okay, well, which one did you really enjoy? And hands down, it'll be the one that I kind of in the back of my mind already know will be a good fit for them because I know the benefits of it. And so it just cracks me up. Someone will talk to me about hormone imbalance and, they're going through perimenopause or whatever. And lo and behold, it'll be the yellow one that ends up being their favorite. And I'll be like, oh, that's so funny because that's a drink for hormone because God created our bodies so smart. But anyway, go to soulnaturals.com/Kristen, click bestsellers, and you'll see the sample pack there. And you'll get a $15 coupon code with that purchase. So $14.95, $15 coupon code cancels it out. And if you hate all 7 drinks, which I have not had anyone who has come back and told me that, but maybe you'll be the first. If you hate all 7 of them, we also have essential oils. We have lotion. We have probiotics. What am I trying to say? Omega fish oil. It's not a fish oil, but it's an omega. We have lots of other things. So if you hate all the drinks, you can just go buy that stuff with your $15 off. So check that out and let's hop right into the episode. All right, we have another amazing guest this week. So, Courtney, you've been on in the past, but you guys didn't get to see her face. And so I don't even remember what episode number you were. Do you remember?
I can't off the top of my head.
I should have looked. I
I
should have
know.
looked ahead of time. But since you've come on, we've moved to video,
Yeah.
and all kinds of exciting things have happened in your life, including having a baby.
Yes.
So, and the baby's not like totally a baby anymore. She's more of a toddler. She's a
Hmm.
year now.
Big.
Um, yeah, and lots of amazing things have happened. And if you guys haven't noticed, what I've been doing is I've been kind of, we are obviously bringing in new guests too, but I'm kind of circling back to some of the people who I've kept in touch with, and they have a continuing story, and we're kind of doing an update, as I've done with a few other guests. And if you are a former guest and you are listening, don't be alarmed if you get a text or a call from Kristen saying, "Hey, remember me? You need to come on again." And so Courtney and I have kept in touch over the, I guess, years now since she came on last time. And I just have seen such a tremendous growth in her. And so decided to have her on again for a completely different reason. So
Yeah.
last time you came on to talk about your son. So you want to share just like a 2-minute synopsis of a little bit of your story with your son, just
Yeah.
so that they could get a little background?
So last time I came on, I kind of shared my testimony and upbringing up until the point that I had my son. And it was a really traumatic birth after 2 previous traumatic births, but his was different in the way that he had a congenital heart defect that we did not know about. So I just got to share on the last episode a little bit about what was, going through my head and my heart at that time, what he went through, and really got to share his healing story. And in that season, the Lord had spoke to me at the beginning of that year in a big way that I would share his story 2 times that year. And I did on this podcast and then also in one of our local magazines. And it was really special just to be able to tell his story and share that before it truly becomes his story. I mean, now he's speaking in full sentences and it's not really my place to share all of it anymore. I want him to be able to develop his own understanding and share all of it in his own way one day too. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So go back, check that out. Maybe I can link the episode below
yeah.
in the show notes, but we're here for a totally different reason. So many of you guys may have heard of, what is it called? 75 Hard,
Yes.
which is a workout program. And it's basically, the idea behind it is committing 75 days to working out and this nutritional plan. And yes, it's going to be hard, which is why the name is 75 Hard. And then Courtney, because she's super awesome and she's super creative, decided to take that 75. And I don't even know, I didn't even ask you if it was correlated at all to 75 Hard or if it just, yeah. Tell
Yeah.
the story.
I'll share it. So I have tried the 75 hard several times, and I only get a couple of days as a mom with 4 kids, 6 and under. One of them, as Kristen said, only 1-year-old. And I just fail. I fail because you have to have 2 45-minute workouts. One of them has to be outdoors. And it's just very difficult to do in my season. I'm also a full-time working mom and I work from home. So anytime I get breaks, I'm trying to see my kids. It's very difficult in this season to be absolutely perfect at it. And the rule of 75 hard is if you miss any one thing on that list, you have to start all the way over from day one. And so my correlation was I am so sick of feeling like I'm failing and I'm only ever starting over and then getting to day 4, 5, 20, whatever it is. And then feeling like, once again, here I go back to ground zero. And the Lord just reminded me in a moment when I was really tearing myself apart after it was a picture that I had looked at on my phone that my daughter took of me. And I was just like, why is my body not doing the things that it needs to do? Why can't I do the things that I'm trying to force myself into? And he just reminded me, like, I'm a God of grace and you're giving yourself no grace. And that same week, in comments that I had made about my body, which is unlike me in this renewed season where the Lord has brought me, somebody would respond back to me, give yourself some grace. And it just was such a loud message to me. And in that same week, I also saw some people talking about like holy habits, holy girl summer, 75 holy. And I was like, okay, let's make it an official thing. Like, let's invite people into it, but I didn't want to share it on social media at that point. That was like a whole other thing.
Well, because you had kind of taken, I don't want to, you didn't take like a total break from social media because you were still there, you were still present. That's kind of how we were kind of keeping in touch with each other, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the same over like very active Courtney on social media that you had been previously. It was like, and I remember you telling me that you just felt like this call to totally take a break. And so was that some of the resistance to jumping into this?
Yes. Okay. That's a really great point. I totally forgot about that. So I had pulled back after sharing Luca's story because again, I felt like I shared it the number of times the Lord said. And I feel like if I go past that, it's really me taking my son's story and that's my platform. And that doesn't feel good as a mom to me. And again, I want it to be his own story one day. It's not my place to always be telling it unless the Lord leads me in that direction. And so then I was like, well, who am I on social media right now? Like, I had gone through this weird up and down season of being on and being off for a while, and the Lord just told me, have fun. And I remember I had nursed Addie at one point, and I literally pretended there was a vase next to me, and I pretended that I was drinking the water from that, like nursing mom thirst. And it made me roll on the floor laughing. And I was actually having fun just creating. So I had this fun season when I was, 12 weeks just rooming in with her. I really took an actual postpartum season with her, which was very, very healing physically and mentally and emotionally. But then after that, I just kind of stepped away for a while. And every now and then I would post on stories and just like, hey, I'm here, I'm alive, or I really like this video really quick, I'm going to post it. But as far as being creative, as far as having a plan or wanting to be on any platform, I was just kind of like, I don't feel led to be consistent or show up here in this way right now. And so when I felt the prompting, I just kept going, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because I didn't have a plan. I didn't have branding. And that is who I am to the core is a type A. I have to figure it out. I have to have a plan. So this felt very stretching and uncomfortable, which I resisted at first.
Well, in the part that she left out, and I only know this because I'm your friend, is that in the midst of this, your husband had an accident, you gave birth to a baby, and you also moved
Yep.
in the midst of all of this social media hiatus, we'll call it. And you went back to work.
Yep. All of that.
So there was a lot going on there. And so when you felt the prompting to say, I want to develop this idea that's 75 holy, your natural reaction was, I'm going to take control of this and I'm going to brand it and I'm going to plan it and I'm going to, which we were talking before this call, like she and I are two different people. Let's be honest. So I am going into my 13th year of network marketing, social media, whatever. And I have bought the like social media marketing, like planning things, and I can do it for about like 4 days before I'm like, I feel like talking about this today.
Yeah.
So I really admire people like you who plan things. But that was not what the Lord wanted you to do at all.
Yeah. Well, and I felt the prompting to invite people in, and I was like, ugh, I don't know about that. And especially because I'm struggling right now with where my body is at. It's not responding the way it did before kids, and I'm figuring out where I'm at in this season. And so it just feels different, and I don't feel fully. It's not even that I don't feel confident. I feel confident in who God made me to be, and I'm grateful He gave me the babies He did. It's just a relearning of how my body's working in this season, which is odd. And I don't want to relearn in front of people. So I had texted a friend and I was like, hey, did you want to do the 75 hard with me? But mine's not going to be the 75 hard. It's going to be this list that I created instead. And she was like, sure. And another friend had jumped in. And a few days into that, I felt so convicted. Like, this is not the way that the Lord asked me to do this. Why am I, literally like putting my heels on the ground and resisting this so hard? So I just took a random video of me. I think I was walking, like, hey, I'm going to start the 75 holy. And it started gaining traction right away.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you feel completely supported by everyone? This was something we kind of talked about.
I did not feel supported by everybody.
No.
Yeah.
And that can be really, really hard when the reason I wanted to point this out is because, even for me, confession time, I was like kind of rolling my eyes and I was like, she's so talented. And, she just makes things look so easy. But the reality was it didn't just roll out completely easy, and you
Yeah.
didn't have 100% support, and it wasn't just this like super easy path. And so just kind of wanted to remind people that a lot of what you see on social media isn't the whole story.
Yeah.
So what I just realized
I'm
is
gonna go
that
back
this,
to it if I can
oh,
chime in there really quick because
yeah,
I'm getting teary-eyed over that. And I even told you the day that you told me that I was on a walk with my youngest and I'm like pushing the stroller and I'm just sobbing as I'm walking because number one, it takes a lot for a friend to confess something and admit something like, hey, seeing you grow has been actually hard for me. And that spoke volumes of your character and of our friendship and how much I value you and vice versa. And so it spoke to my heart in such a big way. But even when you talk about it now, I get teary eyed because again, number one, everything is that you see is not what it looks like in the back end. This willy nilly getting on social media for me is hard. For some people, it's like, look at she's just posting and she's growing. No, for me, this is really hard to just get on there and post and not like obsess over the perfect lighting and the perfect plan. Like I literally propped up my phone on a milk carton the other day when I got a message from the Lord and was like, my dinner is sizzling in the background. They're not going to be able to hear me. And he was like, say that. And I was like, okay. So I did. And it's embarrassing for me. It really is because that's not how I want to show up. But the Lord is stretching me in that way. And the second thing I want to say about that is you cannot compare where the Lord has you. And not specifically you, Kristen, but just everybody. Like, yes, somebody's, 10 steps into something might not look like your step one, but the Lord didn't tell you to take step one yet. What's more important is your obedience in that season. And if you disobey to try to get to where somebody else is, you might be flirting with the devil because he wants you distracted by that person's success or lack thereof or whatever it is. But it is hard when you go into something and you feel like I felt it in my soul was like, ugh, there are people that I know and love that are having a hard time being happy for me right now. And that deeply hurts. But there's nothing I can do about it other than pray over it.
yeah. And being on the other side of that, like it hit me like a wave. And I was like, I need to confess this. I need to tell her. And it, I know exactly where it was, where I was driving and I was voice texting, and it was almost like it was a clarifying moment, I think, for both of us that
Yeah.
we, are both on social media for a purpose, but that purpose isn't competition, right?
Right.
And yeah, so I think we both learned a lesson from that, and to remember that, you know, you don't have the complete story. And kind of even what you said earlier about telling your son's story, like you could have been disobedient in that, and you could have told it over and over and over again and created this huge social media following and wrote a book and kept doing podcast episodes and all of those things, but you were obedient. And so you don't know the behind the scenes of what people are doing and the reasons for the way that they're doing things.
Yeah.
It could be different. It could be different for everybody. So what I just realized, we just spent the last 13 minutes talking about 75 Holy, and we haven't told anyone what is 75 Holy, other
Yes.
than it's like not 75 hard.
Yes, let me go into the rules behind it. And my rules might be different than other rules because I'm not the first person that used the term 75 holy, but this is just what I prayed about and came up with my own list. Is number one, we have to put God first. And in this, I also challenge women, and I'm speaking to women specifically because I'm not here to lead the men. But I'm speaking to the moms who are in the struggle of everything and for the women who are feeling busy and their stress levels hit as soon as they, put their feet on the floor, put your phone down for the first hour of the day. Leave it on airplane mode. And people got confused about this rule at first because they were like, okay, I have to spend 1 hour with the Lord. And I'm like, I didn't say that. I think that's amazing and that's beautiful. But for the reality of most of us, especially if you have kids, it can very easily get interrupted. And then there's a poopy diaper or somebody needs breakfast or it's time to leave or whatever it is. So my point is, God first can be I open my eyes and I say, God, I give this day to you. I woke up a little bit late. Please forgive me. Don't let me forget to come back to you later, Lord. I can't wait to read your word today. And then you go. But you don't get on your phone. We're not going and we're scrolling and now we're late because we were on our phone and now we're stressed out because we're on our phone. It's about removing the distraction and really focusing on God. And when you do that, He remains first because you realize, and that's the testimonies that have rolled in, you realize how much you can get done or how little you are distracted or how better your mental health is when that phone is out of the picture for that first hour or even longer. And then the second one is that we move our bodies for 30 minutes a day. You don't have to have one workout inside, one workout outside. It doesn't have to be 45 minutes. It's 30 minutes of movement. It doesn't even have to be a workout. If your movement is, I'm going to do arm circles and then stretch or whatever, great. You moved your body. And I want to recognize that this body has been given to us by the Lord and we need to steward it well. Most of the time, we go on like an hour-long walk after dinner. Especially when it's nice out, we'll use the full hour, and that's kind of my movement with my family. And outside of that, I'm not doing crazy workouts over here. So I'm not telling other people they have to do that either. Just move your body for 30 minutes. The diet and water portion is just focusing on nourishment. And sometimes I'm recognizing in the moment, like I grabbed a piece of chocolate when I was stressed out. Okay, this does not nourish me. And I just grabbed it when I was stressed out. So that means that's emotionally attached to something. And then I will sit there and think, why do I do this thing? So that we can break those habits and again, be better stewards of our body. So just focusing on, am I nourishing myself? Am I eating the things that agree with my body? Even the other day, I got up and got ready with the kids, made them breakfast and realized I was like, I'm not hungry yet. So why would I force myself to eat right now? What if I just took an extra hour and focused on the Lord and kind of like fasted this first hour of the day? And that's okay too. We just want to focus on nourishing ourselves and not sticking to some sort of plan that is written by who knows who. What does the Lord tell you to give up? He told you sugar, kick the habit. He told you coffee, get rid of it. Pop, listen to him, because if I tell you, you're not going to be as successful. And then 10 minutes of listening to a podcast that is faith-based or reading for 10 minutes in a nonfiction Christian book. And again, people have asked, well, can that count just as my Bible reading? No, your Bible reading should be your Bible reading. And this is supplemental. This is like character building or really just hearing somebody else's perspective. And it's funny how many times what you read that morning in the Word and then that random podcast you chose actually line up because the Lord's trying to tell you something. And number 5 is focusing on what we see and what we hear and what we say. And people are like, well, how do I track this? You track it by Holy Spirit conviction. If what you're watching on TV no longer feels good, it's probably because the Lord does not want you to watch that show. If you're reading something, like you're reading, what do they call them? Like smut books, romance novels that have scenes in it that trigger you to, this lustful thinking. Well, listen to what the Lord's telling you in that season and don't read those books. Whatever he wants you to give up, you should be listening to him. I'm not going to write the rules for how the Lord wants to convict you. But also, focusing on what we say, that's like, am I complaining? Am I sitting here saying, I'm so tired? Why does every day have to be like this? No, I'm tired, but I'm trusting that the Lord is going to give me energy. Like, can we change the way that we're talking? And then also what we hear, what music are we listening to? What group of people are we surrounding ourselves with in conversation? I don't want to be a part of a circle of gossipers. Like, that's just not the conversation for me. And so if we recognize it and allow Holy Spirit to convict us, we can trust that we're going to grow deeper in our relationship with him.
I love that. I feel like I could go through each and every one of these and nitpick them, but the one thing I wanted to say was even before I started this challenge, I had already started with the God first concept because my kids are older than yours. And so it's not so, I'm not making lunches anymore. I'm not getting them dressed. It's more or less get out of bed, leave your room, like those are some of my struggles. But what I found was I could never get into a good habit of reading the Word. And I would try to squeeze it in throughout the day or, before I went to bed. And it hit me. And I talked about this in my birthday episode when I turned 42. It hit me that I've been a Christian for 42 years and I've never read the Bible cover to cover. And so I decided that this year was going to be the year that I would do it. And the only way that I could do it is if I did it first thing in the morning But if I open up my phone, because I run my business on my phone, I would go down the rabbit hole. And so I had to develop that discipline of I get up, I get out of bed, I drink my water, I make my coffee, I don't open my phone, I read the word. And I started this in January, and tomorrow will be August 1st at the time of this recording. And I've made it that many months. And so when I saw that you put that in there, I was so excited because that already in my life was such a deal maker. I was going to say deal breaker, but
Deal maker.
it,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a deal maker for me that actually kept me consistent. I didn't look at the notifications. I really didn't even open up the screen. Now there's exceptions, guys. Like she said, grace, grace, grace. My husband and one of my daughters are actually out of country right now. They're serving a mission trip in Guatemala. When I wake up and I see a message from either of them, am I breaking the rule? Yes, I am, because
Yeah.
there's exceptions, because there's grace. But generally, that was one of my favorite ones. We all know we need to move. That obviously is a great one. Nourishment, awesome. The podcast and the see, hear, say. Okay, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that because there's so much science behind that.
Yes.
Even when you talk about, like, they've done these experiments where you put two different plants in a room and you talk negatively to one and you talk positively to the other one. There's experiments even on things like ice crystals. And just recently, I just posted about this. What is the name of that sparkling water that has a horrendous name to it?
I don't know.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
But um, there's so much evidence to talk about all of the things that you put in is exactly what's going to come out. And so
Yeah.
as we as women, not only I'm talking more from the holistic perspective, but even from the perspective of books we're reading or music we're listening to or anything like that. And the smut books are ridiculous. There have been a couple books that I've actually had to put down because I had to be convicted that like this was a cute little story. And now I'm basically reading like a pornography.
Yeah.
They're really bad. Okay, I gotta find this
Well, we have
because
to be so vigilant in the small things, whether it's a song and it's like there was one song on TikTok that I was like, "Oh, I like this song," but I want to look up the words because I wasn't hearing anything bad. I don't know the author or the artist or anything like that, but I looked up the words and when I read the whole thing, there was a couple of curse words at the end, and then I read through the lines of it and I was like, not something that I would want to talk about like in a conversation, and I don't swear, so I probably don't want that as far as the music goes. And I've been trying to be really careful about even that because if you hear the first part and you only have a 10, 15-second loop in your head, but then that song comes on the radio, you're singing it and then you keep listening to it. And then you're going to end up, singing the rest of it. And so just everything, what we read, all of it. Again, even the conversations that we listen to, because if you're listening to a group of people talking about somebody in a certain way, you think about the way that they were just talking about that person. Then it gets into the way that you think about yourself. And it triggers so much in our brains because our brains are like sponges. And what we feed it, it's soaking up, but it can't soak up everything. If you have a sponge that's so wet, eventually that water starts falling off of it. But then you squeeze it out, all of that comes out, and then you refill it up. That's how our brains are. It's like, okay, when we squeeze it out and refill it up with the good stuff, we're not focused on the bad stuff anymore because it's no longer in there. We cleaned it out and we have the opportunity to put the good stuff in. That's why I always say there's no shame or condemnation in Christ Jesus, number one. Number two, there is so much grace. If you messed up yesterday, you have the chance to wring out that sponge and refill it today. Like you have the chance to start fresh. That's what his mercy and grace is all about.
here's the thing. I just had this happen with someone that I know who often talks about this other person who is a friend. And every time she talks about this person, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what does she say about me when I'm not around?
Yep.
And it's one thing if you're talking about someone and you're like, I'm really worried about Courtney. She's working really hard. She's got little kids at home. That's different. That's not gossip. That's like, I really, we mutually care about this person, but some of the things that I was hearing, it just really made me pull back and say, if that's how they're talking about this person when I'm around, I can guarantee you I'm the topic of conversation when I'm not around.
Yeah.
I found it.
What was it?
It's called Liquid Death,
Oh, yes, I've heard of that.
and it's a flavored sparkling water. So they were announcing the fact that they came out with a new flavor called grapefruit. Um, and like, okay, maybe that's like a little bit over the top, but you're drinking something that says liquid death. Like what is that telling your body? Or what is your brain telling your body to do with that water? Like we want to be drinking living water, both spiritually and physically. We don't want to be drinking liquid death. And um there's so many different directions that you could go, and that's just like a small bit of the whole see, hear, say thing, but it is so true. What you put in is exactly what comes out. Just had this conversation with my daughters about horror movies. We don't watch horror movies
Yeah.
because those movies celebrate the demonic, and we don't celebrate that. And they, oh, well, it's just fun. We just like to get scared. Well, why do you like to get scared? Right? And so there's a lot of conviction, like you said. We're not judging. Everybody's on their own personal path, and you need to figure out the conviction for the Holy Spirit and where you're going to draw the line. But just to start thinking of those things as if you were a sponge. And if I was to squeeze out your sponge, what would come out?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us, so now that we know what 75 Holy is and a little bit of the history, let's get back to what we were talking about with social media. So you're walking one day. I think you were like pushing a stroller because I saw it.
Probably.
Um, story of her life.
Yes, literally.
And yeah. And you had already talked to a couple friends and you said, let's do this thing together. And then you felt convicted to multiply, because that's sort of what we're told to do in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
And so you put it on social media, and what happened next?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. You know me, I like a plan, and I'm like, I want to provide resources and I want this to be beneficial for people. I don't just want to talk about it on social media. I want to do this with people. And as soon as I said yes to the Lord, it was like this fire ignited inside of me and this passion came out that I didn't know was there for the 75 Holy. Um, and I was like, okay, how do I do this? And immediately was like, how do I, do this thing? And the Lord was like, you already have it. Like these years that you've put in praying and whether or not you should go on social media or not, the times that you've set something up and then not move forward with it. I will never forget. I have dates with the Lord. So I was at Panera on my date with the Lord, and normally I'll like worship and pray on the way there. I will eat dinner and just imagine that the Lord is sitting across from me. And then I will brain dump anything that I feel like I need a journal that he brought up, like a past hurt or anything. If I feel creative, I will pull up all my sites where I create things and I will just start creating. And so I had started creating a bunch, and I will never forget. I left there and I voice messaged with one of my friends. We're prayer partners, and I voice messaged her and was just like, I had the best date with the Lord. And I feel like I had all this stuff like for when I get back on social media and blah, 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 all these things. Right. And then I never did anything with it and was like, whatever, at least I was creative and it was fun and it was dandy. But then I remembered as the Lord brought that back to me, like, you have everything you already need. I had a template that I just had to plug and chug these links in. And I'm like, this is easy. Why is this easy right now? I have no plan. And so again, I just knew it was from the Lord. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to show up. I started getting questions. Well, what does 75 Holy mean? What are we doing? When does this start? So I just got on and I talked. I'm like makeup free. My hair is greasy sometimes on top of my head. Like, this is so unlike me. And even right now, I'm like, I don't even have makeup on. I stopped wearing makeup altogether. I don't know who I am anymore. um, but the Lord is just walking me through like, what are the little details that I used to spend my time on that I could just surrender and trust in the way that He's walking me through things. And even the makeup thing, getting ready, like, there's nothing bad about makeup. I just felt like the Lord was like, if you're going to do this challenge, can you look at yourself in the mirror and love the creation that I made, like just the way that you are? And I wasn't. Remember, I said I was struggling with that picture that my daughter took of me. And so now I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, my skin is clearing up. Like, wow, God, you gave me good skin. Like, thank you. Like, just these little things, and not in a vain way, but just really appreciating the way that the Lord made me. And so it's been fun, and I've been growing in confidence in posting without makeup and all the things. But even like I said, he will tell me to prop up my phone on a milk carton with my dinner sizzling in the back and post something, and I will just be obedient and I do it. And so this really started gaining traction. I think this is answering the question that you asked. Remind me if I'm wrong, but just really started gaining traction. I opened up a Facebook group because people were recommending using like Discord or what's the other chat? There's another chat thread, Group Me. And I was like, I don't even want another app on my phone. Like, I can't handle that. It is what it is. I'm on these platforms. I'm going to, put a group together on Facebook, and it just, I feel like it's the group of the most devoted. Like, my following now is growing on TikTok mostly. That's kind of where I've hit the most growth. And then the group is like 800, I don't know, something over 800. And I feel like that's the most devoted group, is those people who joined there. And then also within that, we have our like select few who are really gung ho about the community, and also have these little sub communities. There's a small group that's doing it together. There's a couple of women who like met through the group on there and are checking in every morning together as accountability, like in their own message thread. So not everything is even happening before my eyes, and I have to not let that like get to me in any way about numbers or involvement, engagement, and just trust like the Lord is really doing this thing, this deeper work in small groups and in friend groups, and for people who have been lonely and connecting them. And it's beautiful. I'm just blown away. I don't even know why he chose me to do this, but I'm here.
Well, and it's really funny because um, I got a text message. I don't even know if I told you this story, but I got a text message from one of my mentors. She's maybe like 10 years older than me.
Okay.
She's someone who I've gone to for years and years and years with biblical questions, or I would just really look up to her. And she had found you on TikTok.
Okay.
And she was like, this is so crazy. How did you find this girl? I found her on TikTok, and then I just followed the link, and I'm on Facebook, and she lives local too. And I was like, you guys literally live in the same town. And she was like, what? She's local. And I said, yeah, she's a friend of mine. She's been on the podcast as well. And um it was just like this whole full circle moment that I was like, look at the impact that Courtney's making, that, this person found her on TikTok and just followed the link, and it circled right back to, whoa, she's local. We actually know a lot of the same people. And, you're bringing communities together. And so she and I have become, kind of like accountability partners as we're going through it,
I love it.
as
I'm like
well.
gonna cry.
Yeah, it's
Blows me
super.
away. I just don't understand even like the interconnectedness. I'm blown away. There's downloads I checked in like 10 or 12, I don't know now where we're at, but different countries. And what? Are you kidding me? Like, this is blowing me away. And then you've got people who are local. How is it reaching that far, but also staying this small? You know what I mean? And it's only the Lord. And even when it was so funny, because I was like, I am embarrassing myself. Like, when I first got on social media, I'm like, I literally have 40 followers on TikTok. And I'm like, hey, come join me. And I just felt so silly. And I had 47 at that time. And I'm walking through Costco, and someone's like, hey, I think I saw a post of yours on TikTok, and I was like, I have 47
You're
followers.
one of them.
Yeah, I'm like, that is so crazy. And in that moment, the Lord reminded me, it does not matter how few or how many people that you have. All that matters is the reach. All that matters is that you're stewarding it well. Then it was funny because I was like, that was the first night that I scrolled, because I'm like, what am I doing on social media? Should I be doing things a certain way? And I'm like scrolling to like get ideas, which I got none from, by the way. But one of the third or fourth videos that I was on was like, if you are here to like share Jesus, your prayer just needs to be like, am I stewarding this well? And I was like, I'm done scrolling, like put it away, because I don't need ideas from anybody else other than the Lord, and just trust that it will reach the right people. Again, if I'm standing in front of 47 people and one person stood up and was like, hey, this helped me, I would be blown away. So just gotta trust what the Lord's doing, even though it blows me away and it's crazy all at the same time.
Well, and you and I were talking, I think earlier, and I loved what you said to me when you said, if my post has a reach of 2 people, instead of being disappointed, I think to myself, well, I'm at a coffee shop with these 2 people and I get to tell them about Jesus.
Yeah.
And I just love that perspective. And, you could flip it the other way where, we've both had posts that have reached tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people, which is not even viral. That's like mini viral.
Yeah.
But when you start to think about that, like posts that hit 100,000, 200,000 people, and your brain tries to put that into a gymnasium or like a football field or whatever, like the ability to reach people um, through social media is so cool. And it
Yeah.
is such a cool opportunity. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I have this idea, whether it's a ministry or a business or encouragement, or you're a homeschool mom or like whatever it is, like just do it. Just do it. And the
Yeah.
Lord will use it, and he'll use it in big ways, whether it's to reach 2 people or 200,000.
Yeah.
Um, just do it.
Yeah. And it's so important too to remember that there is no competition. If we are here to show up for the Lord, then you're here to show up for the Lord. You're not here to say, I'm showing up for the Lord and I'm bigger than blah, 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 or I'm smaller than blah, 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 and I need to grow more. Like if you're there for the Lord, your eyes are on Jesus and you need to put the blinders on and not focus on anybody else around you, but also pray and ask for the wisdom and discernment. Am I supposed to do this on social media? Because there are people who are needed in the local community. There are people,
Mhm.
look, your husband right now in Guatemala, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So I didn't want to say the wrong place, but it's like, oh, hey, you're needed right now in Guatemala. Is his calling to be on social media in this moment? No. So just trusting that wherever the Lord has you right now for such a time as this, he is going to show up. He is going to work if you are being obedient to the will and the plans that he has for you and all that he's called you to do. And also trusting when that conviction comes in, whether it's I should post and I didn't, or I did post and I shouldn't, or I should have prayed for this woman at the bank and I didn't, or whatever it is. I need to give up sugar and I didn't. I don't care what the Lord's telling you, whatever it is, you need to obey him. And if you feel like you're in a dry season or you're like, I thought I was supposed to do this thing and I'm not sure, then you need to take a season. I took a whole season where I took a back seat. And in that season, not only was it so good because I went through so much between moving and my husband's injury and all of that, but in that season, the Lord brought so much healing to me that I did not know I needed. I thought I had a lot of healing, and I know that I will always probably go through some sort of healing because we have not arrived and we will never arrive. But just trusting that the Lord had me there for such a purposeful and intentional time to be able to heal and also to prepare me for what he has for me right now. If I just imagine always like a slingshot, if we allow him to pull us back, can we trust that he will let go and allow us to soar forward? Or are we like, I don't want to be pulled back. That's not me. I'm not going to put myself up on a shelf to collect dust. No, you're not collecting dust. He's polishing you. Will we allow him to do that in our lives?
Oh, that's such a powerful analogy, because I think we've all
Just
been
came
there.
to me.
Yeah, yeah. I went through this in 2023
Mm,
where I just felt like the bottom fell out, and through that, like, to be brutally honest, like my business cut in about half, and we had to make some financial adjustments, but what in mental health, and I had to seek help, and all of these things. But now I look back at that time and I'm like, man, that was so good. That was so needed. And there were so many adjustments in my life that I needed to make. And he put a big giant halt on it and said, like, I'm going to put these stumbling blocks here because you're not getting this, Kristen. You're not
yeah.
getting like what I'm trying to tell you. And so I'm going to put a stop sign in front of you so that you have to stop, and then you have to reevaluate. And then I'm going to realign things so that you do it for my glory,
Yep.
which is also so hilarious because in 2023 was when I started this podcast. So like
Yep.
he was doing it through me, in me. And I, it was literally unfolding as this podcast has developed. And I didn't even know it until I stepped back and I was like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah.
So
That's beautiful.
yeah, he is good. He is good. So 75 hard. We're on day 20,
Today is 26.
Yeah.
I question myself every single day. I'm always like, today's day 26, and then I have to check like 4 times because I'm just like, it could be 24, it could be 28. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, not everybody started on the same day. So
Yes.
that's the first thing I was going to say. So this episode will release somewhere mid-August, and it's July 31st now. So people are going to be listening and be like, I missed it.
Nope.
You know, grace upon grace upon grace. Talk about that.
Yeah. So we started and it's like a 75 holy challenge, right? So that means 75 days, but that doesn't mean that you have to start at a certain time. That doesn't mean that everybody's even on track at the same day. It really is just a call to say, hey, I want these holy habits or this deeper discipline in my life so that I can walk closer to the Lord, so that I can come out of this depression, so that I can release these anxious thoughts in the morning and get ahead of myself. Or what's the thing like, I got Jesus in my head before I got in my own head. Like we need to do these things and we will see the transformation. There's already testimonies coming. And I always share to the ladies, like, because we are not starting over, right? So maybe we're on let's just say day 21 and somebody else is on day 13. Well, you don't get frustrated when you are a little bit behind, but the Lord is doing all this in your life. Like you have to trust that you're right where you need to be and you found the challenge at the right moment because your yes before might not have been the right yes. He brought you into it at the right time. And this is not just 75 days. We are going to go beyond that. There's plans. I wrote it out one day and I was like, God, what did you just put out? Because there is plans throughout the rest of the year. And it's going to be a way to dive deeper into some of the disciplines with more of a biblical background. So I'm going to go into more of like discipleship and more like devotional style on my lives and things like that. And yeah, just really trusting that God is going to bring people at the right time. So if it's your day 1 on someone else's day 75, celebrate that you said yes. Don't celebrate that somebody else said yes earlier. That's comparison. That's the thief of joy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you've brought your mission field to social media. I mean, that's super cool. And I remember you telling me the story of, like feeling like you were called to something mission based, but that being a mom has been your priority. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my husband is amazing and he's been on the mission field. He loves the mission field. And this was before we were even married. But I remember because one day we were talking about it and I think it was in a conversation with another couple and he was just talking about how difficult it is to come home from the mission field because you're there and your whole focus is Jesus and you're there for a purpose to be on mission, right? And then you come back and you're like, whoa, I have to go to work and I have to pay bills and all of that. So how do you keep that fire alive even outside of the mission field? And I'm like, I love the idea of the mission field. I don't love the idea. Number one, I'm not a traveler in a sense of like having this huge heart to leave the country. That's just never been me. I like to travel, but within reason. I don't know. It's just not, I guess, my personality. And then number two, I'm like, I would love to share Jesus with everybody. But if I had to leave my kids or I brought my kids with me, but like it was hard to juggle all of it, it just wouldn't feel good. So what would that look like? And I'm like, God, you're going to give me a mission field right here where I'm at, Northwest Indiana. Like, I'm just going to trust you on that. And that was 6 years ago when that conversation happened. And I remember telling Tim, like, I just pray that God gives me a mission field where I don't have to leave my babies ever because I think we had just found out we were pregnant. And I was like, I just can't imagine like leaving and going somewhere else or even bringing such young kids into like dangerous areas or things like that. And so when this started, I don't know the timeline. Honestly, it's such a blur because I was just like, God, what is happening? But as I launched, I like quickly put together some links and I'm like, hopefully this works. I tested all the links. They work for me. I'm just going to post it and trust that the Lord's got this. And it was like email after email. You've got to download. You've got to download. You've got to download. And I'm like, I can't keep track of this. I'm not going to look at all of them. I'll like check back later to make sure no one has emailed me that they've had issues with downloading it, but it looks like it's working. So let's just pray that that continues. I log on to make sure there's no issues or anything. And I see that there was over 1,000 downloads. It was at that point, I think like 5 countries. And then I refreshed it later because somebody told me they got 1 download, but the second one didn't come to them. So I was sending it to them personally. And I was like, we're in 8 countries. And then the next morning I woke up and I'm like, I looked at my husband, I said, we're in 10 countries. And I just started sobbing because I was like, I'm here with my babies and I'm like spinning a lot of plates in this season, which doesn't make sense to me, but I feel like the Lord has increased my capacity. I'm having one-on-one time almost daily with every single one of my children. I've had my marriage is like, what? We've had better and deeper conversations in this season than we ever had before. We don't argue anymore the way that we used to. Like just the full circle moment of looking at my kids and looking at my husband and being like, there is so much joy. And trust me, it's chaotic. I have 4 little kids, but there is just so much joy. I don't have to leave them for my real job, like my full-time, like salary job. I don't have to leave them. Yes, somebody comes and watches them, but I'm here at home with them and I can come out and hug them all day long. And then with the social media thing, same thing. And even that, it's not like interrupting my day with them. Like the grace and the capacity is there and the peace is there and the joy is there. And my kids love when like I will quickly record sometimes when I'm like folding laundry and they'll hear me and they'll be like, who are you talking to? And I'll just be like, I'm telling people about Jesus and they get excited about it, you know? And it's like we've had deeper family Bible time and all of it. It doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense. And when I look at all of it, I'm like, God, you are literally answering prayers that have been prayed from 6 years ago to some of these prayers in certain ways and things that he's answering specifically like 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm just like, I can't believe it. But my husband, and I'm looking over this way because I have notes taped up on the wall. At one moment, he had come down into the office, you know, after he had fallen and wrote me a note like, rest is coming. You have to trust that the Lord is going to give us rest. And it doesn't feel like it should be restful because there are, again, a lot of plates spinning, but we have family rest time. Like last weekend alone, 6 hours total of family, like quiet time rest where we were all sleeping at the same time, middle of the day napping. Like the one day we all took a 3-hour nap, like just, you can't make this up. And the Lord is really answering that. And you know, the pushback that we got from the enemy to get here, even the day after I launched, guess what? Our kids got hand, foot, and mouth. Like you can't make that up. And I wanted to make that an excuse to not move forward. But the Lord said, there's always going to be pushback when you are doing something for my kingdom. Will you just go? And I'm like, okay, God, I'm just going to go and look at the blessing that he's bringing. And it just, I don't deserve it. And it's not about me. And I want everybody to know that. Like, I don't want anyone to be like, Courtney says, do the 75 holy. No, if the Lord leads you to it, God told me to do this thing. And this girl gave me some resources and it was great. But look at what God did. It has to be focused on him.
Absolutely. And I really believe it's just the beginning.
Okay.
I mean that sincerely. You have such a presence in real life, on
Thanks.
podcasts, and in social media. And I do believe that he is not only blessing, but will continue to bless your faithfulness. So is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, just whoever is listening, if they feel like this is something that I need, I'm missing community, I need somebody to encourage me. I've been trying to be disciplined and I just can't get there. I'm struggling with anxiety. I'm stuck in depression. Like wherever you're at, even if you're thriving, come and join because your testimony will speak to somebody in the group. It's already happened. And even though the group is not even like, you know, full blown conversations all day long, like what you said, it will get there. I foresee it happening. I foresee more sisterhood happening. I foresee local meetups in different areas where people are getting together in a different way and praying together. And I foresee so many people saying, I'm anxiety free. I'm depression free. I'm no longer addicted to sugar. I don't have midnight snacks anymore. Like all of these things where there is going to be breakthrough. And we've already seen some, I know you see because you're in the group, of just these little things and big things too that the Lord is doing and he's going to continue to do. So if you're questioning, I'm just not the person to start in the middle of something. Well, you're not starting in the middle. You're starting on day one for you. Just say yes to the Lord.
I love that. Always a blessing. I'm sure we'll have you on again in
Let's do
probably
this.
about 6 months when you can tell us your next big thing.
Ah,
But in the meantime, we're so grateful for you. And if they're trying to find you, Her Mind on a Mission on Instagram, TikTok,
yep.
Facebook.
I don't really post on Facebook very much, but the official 75 Holy is the group. And I made it that way because there was some random groups and people were like, I thought I was in your group, but I wasn't. So I wrote official 75 Holy with Her Mind on Mission so that nobody joins the wrong group.
Okay. So find her, Her Mind on Mission on all the social medias, and then the official 75 Holy group. I hope you guys do. Not guys. I hope you girls do.
Yes.
And you guys need to find a male version of Courtney.
Yes. And my husband was gonna he is doing things with me, but he was gonna like lead men. And he's like, I don't want to be on like a Facebook group for men though. And I'm like, you don't have to. Just be you. And if somebody asks you in the community, you can figure that out.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.